All right, everyone, welcome once again to the Boilon channel. And here we have a special day today because today we have Mr. Mobile Gamer.
Hello
Welcome to
there.
the channel, and thank you for coming on.
Howdy. We're talking about this amazing blog post and the mysterious Scarlet Spider that's not mentioned in the entire blog
It,
post right there. Isn't that great?
absolutely. So this was a really big blog post. It took me, even skimming it took me like 10 minutes, and then I missed stuff. Things like the Scarlet Spider that I forgot was even mentioned until some other people had to tell me about it, and I had to double back on that. There's lots here, though, including lots of stuff regarding new game modes. So first off, we're going to talk about Pocket Dimensions here today. We actually have a date for this, so that's why I kind of like this, because they're actually telling us
Yeah.
when it's going to start. So January the 14th, store reset time, mark your calendars. That's,
Yep.
I think, about 3 weeks from now. Maybe just a little bit over 3 weeks. So that is what appears to be like a temporary dark dimension. Now, they don't say that, but they do. Well, it did say limited time resolute trait. So, how
Right.
long do you think is this going to be available for? Because it talks about, it's challenging. You use your dark health packs. Are they going to try and monetize these dark health pack offers to kind of push you through faster? Because there's going to be a first time and a timed run reward.
Right. I imagine that there's going to be a fixed amount of time, like a timer on it, like 3 weeks or
Hmm.
something. I just pulled a number out of my head. I don't know, but I'm there, and the one thing that was not in there, but that I kind of wondered about, are they going to refresh the same way that they refresh in Dark Dimension? You know how your characters refresh every
Yeah,
day?
I think that.
They didn't spell that out, but we're making some assumptions that it's
Yeah.
going to work just like Dark Dimension. And then also, you also want to know, like, Cersei's got that tag for Dark Dimension, kind of like, is that tag going to work? You know what I mean? Which is going to make her very amazing in there on that resolution. So resolute roster tag. So here's the thing: is like, if it plays out just like Dark Dimension and it has a certain amount of time. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna be like racing to finish it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if they're gonna monetize it, but if they're and it'd be strange if they just throw it up and it's someday it's gonna disappear and not have a date, but they're probably just not disclosing it yet.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing. I mean, I guess they don't want to disclose how long it's going to be available because maybe people might be able to plan a little bit better. But we also don't know how long is it going to be. How many nodes is it going to be? We know that it starts at Commander level 65. So to
The
me, that suggests like Gear Tier 12.
Datamine said 10 nodes, but I don't know
Oh,
how
okay.
that was
Well,
from a
yeah.
Tana Datamine 10 nodes. So we'll see.
So if it starts at Commander level 65, that's like Gear Tier 12. So it's going to be like 2 nodes at the Tier 12 level, two at the Tier 13, 14, and so on. And then that makes about 10 nodes. And if we only have 3 weeks, hypothetically, of course,
Right.
you're gonna have to, core, dark health pack, whatever, because there's full teal gear rewards in here. That's huge.
Correct.
I've done calculations on teal
Correct.
gear and teal pieces. Like it's like
Correct.
600 teal pieces for one piece of gear. So this is significant. Even one teal
Well,
gear, even one fully crafted teal gear piece is significant.
I think the rewards being teal gear is probably meaning that this is not going to be easy and it's not going to be completed easily. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, this is going to be a challenging reward, because if the rewards are going to be really steep, like they are fully crafted teal and orange gear, then they're gonna monetize. It's gonna be monetized heavily in some way for it to be completable by majority of the players. I'm fully
Right.
expecting this to be monetized.
Yeah, I mean, whether or not, like, someone like myself who doesn't spend much, am I gonna be tempted into spending on some Dark Health Pack offers in order to get to the timed run? I
You know
just,
how important a full teal gear piece is. I mean, it's a
it's a
big
lot.
deal. It's
It's
a
well,
lot.
I mean, I don't even have one character, so let's, so that
It's
kind
a
of puts
lot.
it into perspective. We're 2 months ish on, from Teal Gear being out, and I don't even have one Gear 16 character. So, that is worth a lot. I'm assuming it's going to be more than one. We don't know that, but it's fully crafted Teal Gear. I hope it's not singular, but so
A single gear.
well,
Yeah.
even one is worth a lot. Like I said,
Yeah.
that's like 600 pieces. But if there's more, that's insane. It's months of progress if you don't get this done. So that's what I'm concerned about. Am I, as someone who doesn't spend, will I get through the timed run reasonably? Might depend on my characters. Maybe not everyone's going to do it, but I hope that most players that are, average, most players that are prepared can at least get the first time run. Maybe not the
Absolutely.
timed run, but hopefully at least the first time.
Absolutely. I mean, you would think, but the rewards are so high, I'm expecting it to be insanely challenging. I mean, that's what my
Yeah.
expectation right now.
Or maybe the teal gear will be locked behind the timed run and not the first run. Like we don't really know how it's going to shape up. I guess in terms of the rewards. Let's talk about the characters though on the Resolute trait. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at.
Yeah, I
There's
did.
some obvious picks here. You know, Omega Red and Cersei are probably the two hands down S tier
Yeah.
picks here. But there's some pretty garbage ones in here as well.
Well,
Like
there's some people where, depending on what tags are triggered in this event, we're guessing it's going to be the Dark Dimension tags will trigger. Then that'll only will affect Cersei. But what if
mhm.
raid tags trigger? I mean, we don't know.
Right,
I
it's not
don't
been
think
clear.
that. Yeah, but if it did raid tags, would that make Scarlet Spider paired up with Miles very important? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the choices go, I think I'm actually gonna try to hold out for Scarlet Spider because he is still a very good character and his space stats are very high compared to like Doctor Strange, She-Hulk. Like, are you She-Hulk's a war character? Are you really gonna be pulling She-Hulk in here?
No,
Probably
no,
not. You
no,
probably
no,
shouldn't
no.
be.
I mean, I think there's a couple good choices there. I mean, you mentioned the two that are the most obvious, but then also, a lot of people have Shuri. You were clicking on it before I even
Mhm.
said it. Shuri is probably one of those characters that will make it in there one way or another just because of her strength. Miles and Scarlet Spider
Yeah.
may be very good choices, and then Doctor Strange might also be of some use right there for his utility,
Yeah.
but we'll have to see.
It gets a bit weird. I mean, you could do a Star-Lord group, but then you're missing Rocket, right? Like, unfortunately, you can't force Groot to taunt without Rocket, so he's just there for a support function. And maybe you have him
Yeah,
leveled up too, like I do, because of Dark Dimension 2 back in the day. I don't know if you
right.
remember. People used to use Groot as a valid side member because of his passive to slow people.
Yeah, and I would be curious to know if there's a way of, Magic and Storm maybe for one node,
Hmm.
her popping off because she Magic has really long cooldowns, but
Yeah.
but if she can feed all that energy to Storm and Storm can blow everybody up, maybe
Yeah.
that's a thing. I don't know.
Well, the other thing too is that because it's like Dark Dimension, and I'm just assuming here, but you might be able to use all 15 of them, in one day. So it's not just one team, right?
That's what I assumed is that you would probably have a sack team and
Yeah.
then you would go in and you probably if it runs just like Dark Dimension, that means you're going to be able to run everything in there.
Hmm.
And maybe the difficulty, I mean, if it's tuned like Dark Dimension 3, that'd be garbage, but it could be.
Yeah, you
It
never
could
know.
be,
Yeah, that
right?
was rough. I'm doing
Yeah.
it right now on my baby account. It's not fun.
Yeah.
That global is
Oh
not fun.
God. I bet you love those Ms. Marvels and
Uh,
Chavez and Black Panthers. Those are
Shield.
great.
There's like
The double
Nick
double
Fury, Shield, Coulson, and just blowing me up
Oh,
on turn one. And
or the double iron fists, you gotta go
yeah,
wait for that one. Oh, that's a fun one too.
but yeah, as far as so that might be a valid strategy. Is just kind of having an A team, but also having a possible B team. Like I said, maybe Magic and Storm. Maybe get those charge ups. You might be able to do some damage, anyways, with
At the
that.
end of the day, I think the information provided with a very specific date with significant amount of rewards, new solo PvE content got
Mhm.
me excited. I think this is a great thing. I'm excited. I
I'm
mean,
co-
I have more questions, but I'm excited.
yeah, more questions than answers. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I really hope that it does well, and I really hope that it's not like it's just 10 times worse than what we think it is. I'm really afraid though at the same time that they'll find a way to screw it up for us.
Oh yeah.
So I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm also scared.
I'm less optimistic about this Avengers Tower. I mean, there's no date on this. The
Yeah.
rewards don't look as good, and it looks a lot more grindy. Where it looks like that other one, at least you can get through it once and it'll be done. This looks like it
Hmm.
might be never-ending nonsense. I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's move on to the Avengers Tower. So a lot of people are comparing this to the new Blitz. So what do you
Yes.
like? It's Blitz 2.0. Like, so what do you think?
That might be a possibility. It's a new Blitz 2.0. The interesting thing in here is they mentioned forced closing. I don't know if you saw that, which is very interesting that
Yeah, they did
they
actually.
actually mentioned
Yeah.
forced closing as a
If you
strategy
hard close
because
the app, yeah, really
yeah,
like,
right there. Scroll up a little bit higher so I'm not cutting it off the text.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, this part
Yeah.
there.
So like basically you can lock in your levels, but then when you go by level 51, and I think one of the data mines suggests you could go as high as like 90. So holy moly, can you
S-
imagine having to reset back to 51? And then they're saying, well, you'll lose the team, but
Yeah,
you won't lose your progress if you force close the app. They're actually, it's interesting that they would actually mention that strategy right in the blog post. I mean, I guess if they can't stop people from doing it and they can't code around it, they might as well just like roll with it. But you think they would just have like have a reset button in the corner where it just does it for you rather than telling us to do this.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because are they saying that the node itself is that hard? Like, why would you want to force close? I don't do that very often.
No,
Like,
no, no. If you're on level 90 and you lose the
oh
match, you
yeah,
get
I
dropped.
see,
You
I
get you get
see.
dropped
Yeah,
down
I
to
guess so.
51.
Like,
Yeah, if you're on level 90 and you're losing, then you're gonna get dropped down. You're gonna
yeah.
want to force close the app quickly because then you don't drop all the way. You just stay at 90 and that's as far as you go. So interesting.
Some people do this stuff in the higher end raids, don't they? Like, I don't know because I'm not that high, but like, let's say Dune 2.3 or Greek 4.3 on the higher ones, that
There's
people will force
4.3 for
close.
sure.
People will force close if they have a bad run because it doesn't consume the team or it just consumes the energy in
It
that
just
case.
consumes energy, but it doesn't consume the
So you
team.
can try it
Like
again.
yeah, because you can't refresh. Let's say you lose your Shang-Chi somewhere
Hmm.
and you're Sean, right? And he's your superstar, right? And you can't revive him, right? It's like, well, do I move on for the rest of the whole thing without him, or do I force close it and get him back? Where they're saying here, you'll lose the
Yeah.
characters for the day, but you won't lose your progress as far as what floor level you're on.
Yeah, so that suggests to me that it's probably going to be quite challenging because why are they
Yeah,
even suggesting this for you to
right.
do this? But yeah,
I
I'm wondering how long is this going to be too? Because if you go into cooldown for a day,
right.
is it going to be a 3 day thing, a 7 day thing? What are we 14 day thing? What are we kind
I
of?
don't know. This was more vague than the pocket dimension, and what worries me about this is this looks like it could be a lot grindier. If they're building in sim mode to it right from the gate, that means it's probably
Hmm.
pretty grindy. And then the only one thing I do like about this is have you been able to go into like one of those nodes where there's no character restrictions and you can go in with like Kestrel, Black Bolt, and Deathpool and this
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
super you know what I'm talking about, like those super ping tags
Hmm.
where it just pings, like I'm looking forward to being able to do stuff like that. You know
I
what I mean? Where you know what I
I'm also
mean?
looking forward to fighting those kinds of teams too, because I know I have a feeling that above 50, we're going to see some pretty ridiculous combos. And did they say whether or not is it resetting every iteration is going to be different, or I don't know if that was clear here or not.
No.
And so I'm most concerned about a screen time, just like Blitz's. So that's why are we looking at
Yeah.
what kind of reset are we looking at? Because I really don't want to add an extra hour a day to my screen time, when I'm already spending 2 to 3 hours a day on the
It may
game.
be what if it's like RTA and it just like resets every week or something? I don't
Yeah.
know. I was way less excited about this Avengers Tower announcement than the Pocket Dimension. This to me looks like it could be Blitz 2.0 or 3.0, whatever, or RTA 2.0, whatever you want to call it. And the rewards did not look as impressive.
Oh, we're getting teal gear. So, I don't
Yeah,
know
but
how high you're gonna have to climb.
not fully
No,
grafted.
of course, but people have been asking for it, and even myself, like I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
how am I supposed to get to Dark Dimension 5 anytime soon when I don't even have one character after 2 months? So I
I have
guess
one
this is
character, one character done. It's amazing.
so at the rate that it's going, I guess this is why they're suggesting it. Now, do you think that before we get on to Grand Tournament, do you think that this will be coming before Grand Tournament? Because we're almost getting a little bit more info here than we have on Grand Tournament. There's a very small blurb, which we'll get to.
Well, here's the thing about Grand Tournament. I think Grand Tournament is such an important thing to this game, and I hope that they just do it right more than anything else. Like I would hope that they take their time and do Grand Tournament correctly.
So, do you think though that the Avengers Tower will come before or after Grand Tournament?
I think it actually will come before. I'm not really sure though. Not sure at all.
I kind of wish we got a little bit more than this. It's really nice that we're getting new, like you can see here, the new battle arenas, and I quite liked this stuff. And
Yes.
actually, it looked really crisp, and I would love to see more of this just more generally. These kind of sort of new
We
backgrounds.
have
I'm so bored of seeing the same background like 3 years on.
not only do we have the same backgrounds from the beginning of the game, some of them don't even make sense. Like there's one where there's a deer like lapping deer and Bambi licking like next to
Yeah.
a war zone, right? With can you imagine seeing Dark Phoenix and Storm doing all their really cool stuff and then deer just like drinking water out of a stream
I
and
know
maybe
it
some
doesn't make the
butterflies.
money, but I would have. I think we'd all appreciate just a little bit of extra spice in the game.
Storks, snakes just going around on the ground. What is that? What committee sat down and said this is a good idea?
I would love to sit down
We
in one of their meetings.
Yeah, the meeting where they said, you know what we need in this game? Storks,
Yeah.
butterflies, Bambi, deer, All right, Babbling Brooks, let's go. Oh, wait. No, 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 nothing from like Thor, where like the light bridge or, there's so many epic backgrounds that could be in the game from any of the movies. Like even, something from like, just, I don't, you know what I mean? Right. It just something that actually looks
Yeah.
Marvel could be in the backgrounds. Anyways,
But nope, we get some random backgrounds.
yeah,
Now, did you read this part? Actually, I skimmed this, and some people got on to me because I was like, "Is this Uatu the Watcher?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't read it closely enough because it talked about the Living Tribunal, who I have no idea who he is. I still don't really. But do you?
isn't I think the Living Tribunal was inside of the Loki show. I
Is it?
wasn't
Oh, is that
with
the
the three
maybe?
heads.
Oh, maybe,
I don't know.
possibly.
Yeah. Anyway, somebody in the comment section will know, but I thought that was I could be wrong.
Because
Anyways,
I was looking at this photo here with the hood, and like he looked kind of bald, and I'm like, that kind of looks like a Watcher. But I was like, no, I clearly didn't read this, and I skipped it. So I thought it was
no,
like Uatu or something. But does this matter? Like, I don't know. Are we? Is there like, are we getting another character? Probably not. But
no.
yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised they didn't go for like an action. I was thinking like a Sakar sort of tournament style. I was a bit surprised they did like I don't know, some sort of cosmic tournament or whatever this is supposed to be. Like a
Yeah.
lot of when you hear the grand tournament or a tournament or like contest of champions, I guess is based on what the grandmaster and the I don't know, Sakar. Like, I'm thinking Thor Ragnarok kind of thing. Like the movie and the
Yeah.
arena
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things they could do like that for sure.
What's your estimated projection? When do you think that we might see this?
I hopefully we have this by springtime. Grand tournament, it can be the best thing ever for the game. I mean, grand tournament in Galaxy of Heroes, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. You play that game?
I didn't, but I know that they have something like this, so I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that.
It pretty much is what that game is at this point. So there's some things they can really do wrong. The thing that they can do really wrong is implement poor matchmaking. Will absolutely
Mm,
destroy this game. For example, let's say you have a veteran account, right? And you're
yeah.
16 million. What if you were paired up with against somebody like Philosopher who has a similar TCP? You know,
Well, yeah, I guess it wouldn't be that fun. So we know
yeah.
that we
So
know that matchmaking is bad typically with this game.
right,
So
right. But so if they match you up just collection power, where someone that's been playing the game for a year and a half or something like that has not upgraded like their defenders or something, right? You know what I
mhm.
mean? They've only focus fired on the new characters, where you have characters and you probably have your guardians developed up, right?
A
I'm
little
just
bit. Yeah, I do.
yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But
yeah.
that would not help you in this game mode, right?
No.
And yet you be penalized because that's a part of your collection power. So there's a lot of things they can really do wrong with matchmaking. And
Hmm.
secondly, if they make it time based, speed based, like Alliance War, as opposed to efficiency based. So
Yeah.
so like if we both full clear, you and I play against each other and we both clear each other, but I destroy your Black Order with Cersei and Icarus, and I should be able to get more points because I did it more efficiently. That is the correct way to do it.
Mm,
Does that make sense? Where
yeah. You
where
played better.
yeah, I played smarter and I took less characters into battle. Therefore, I should win the tiebreaker. We're because typically,
Yeah, how
just
does it
like
work
in
now? If you scored the same points, or does that?
who finishes first,
I've never done full clears. I'll be honest.
who finishes first.
So, well,
Yeah, it's speed based. It's who finishes first, and it's garbage.
yeah, I think a lot of people are unhappy about that. So, but there's a lot of things that could go wrong with the matchmaking, and that's what's
Yeah,
concerning.
literally at the high end of war is strategy is put nothing on defense at all,
Hmm.
and try to clear your opponent first.
Wow.
I mean, don't even bother with defense.
Yeah, I've never really came across, because I'm not in, the top 100 or anything like that. So that's not something that we
Well,
face on a daily
think about
basis.
it.
But
See, the reason why it's not so important in Alliance War is it's hard to get 24 people to commit to this strategy. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like 24 people to be on at the start of the war. But when you're playing one versus one, that's very easy to do. You only have to worry about yourself.
I hope I hope that this is okay. I want there to be more fun stuff and stuff for us to do, but I just if it ends up being a really bad problem with matchmaking like it is for War, or just being really random across the board, then I could see this being not a lot of fun for a lot of people. So I really hope they get it right. And also, is Alliance War tags going to matter in Grand Tournament, or are they going to have new characters specifically made for Grand Tournament? You know, would it be War and Grand Tournament, or
new
just
tags?
brand new character?
I guarantee.
That's how they're going to monetize it.
Yeah,
Grand Tournament teams.
Yeah, you want the rest of the Eternals? They have the Grand Tournament tag.
So, any last final comments about Grand Tournament or Pocket Dimensions or Avengers Tower that hasn't been said?
Okay, I mean, I think both Pocket Dimension and Avengers Tower fill this huge hole in the game right now where there's single player versus environment, PvE. Right now we have raids, but that you're dependent on your alliance mates, right? Absolutely. You know what I mean? So, and then Dark Dimension's very temporary. So there's a huge gap in the game right now for PvE. And then also right now we have Alliance Wars, right? Which you're depending on your alliance mates, right? Again, if they can make Grand Tournament a single player Alliance War where you're not depending on other players, solo content, I think is was been drastically missing in this game. And I think that they can screw all of this up, actually. And the one that I'm worried about the most is the Grand Tournament, them getting that wrong. And then as far as information we have right now, the one that I'm most excited on paper is the first one, the Pocket Dimensions. That seems to be like a very it seems like an interesting way of encouraging people to broaden their rosters out on maybe getting use out of characters we haven't used, kind of breaking the mold of playing the same thing over and over again and trying something new. I'm not a hater. I think from what we know so far, that's the one I'm the most interested in. Based on the information we have, Grand Tournament, I can't wait, but boy, I really think they can get it wrong, and it gives me anxiety just thinking about it, get it wrong.
Well, based on what we know about War, I mean, yeah, I guess they're gonna need to test it out probably before they roll it out, or I hope that they do. Because
I hope so.
They really need to test some of these stuff before rolling it out, and getting bad feedback that way. I'm cautiously optimistic, I think, about Pocket Dimensions. I like the fact that even though these tags are really kind of effed up, but I think that there's promise for future versions of this to kind of use some of your roster that might be sitting around, but you get some use out of it that way. And I like that, so hopefully we get some positive feedback on this, because they said that they're not sure if they're going to do a second one, but if the feedback's there and people like it, that they'll bring it back, I think. So that's the hope.
Yep, I think they'll do a second one for sure, but we'll see.
So thank you, Mobile Gamer, for coming by the Boilon channel today. Hopefully everyone else enjoyed as well. And of course, if for whatever reason you don't know him yet, I'll leave a link in the description below to check out his channel, where I have a video as well that we did together over there. So thank you all once again. And of course, until next time I do this thing, stay safe and healthy, because you never know these days. We're in a crazy time. Boilon signing out. Thank you, everyone.